Hi guys on YouTube. I know you guys are gonna watch this later. It is 12:51 and you're probably like, what is she doing up this late? Doing a YouTube video. Well, my good friends, a lot of people just stay up late to do a YouTube video. So I came across one, well, not a YouTube video, but just a video on Facebook one of my friends shared. And it had to talk about kissing. So hence the title of this one, A Simple Kiss. Um, So there was the guy was having his perspective on kissing and what it meant, how it felt to him, and what it means to him, and everything like that. And it really got me thinking to kissing, really. The what ignites us to do it, and in a sense it's a love language as well. It's a huge love language on its own, to where it's it's is its own language, pretty much broken down into several little bitty languages. For instance, a kiss between uh, parents and children and their children. So mother and child, mother and daughter, mother and son, father and daughter, father and son. It's an I love you thing. You mean the world to me. You are my precious little bundle of joy, that my love for you will never run dry. My love for you will always be there. That's what it is to me, in my opinion, of a kiss. It's that's the things I notice and I feel, and to, as well as me being a parent, you know what I mean, to give your little baby so many smooches, or when you see your elementary student and they love you and they want to give you hugs and kisses and everything else, just because, those say a lot, and they mean so much. For, you know a sibling to do it, yeah, sure, like when we're little, we hear our parents, right, and I give your sister a kiss, or give your brother a kiss, give him a hug and kiss, y'all make up, whatever else. It gets, it's only like that for the time being, but then as you get older, it kind of drifts apart, because society is to think that, oh, well, if you kiss them, that's just weird. Even down to uh father kissing his son on the lips or whatever as a little boy, or mother kissing their daughter on the lips as little kids or whatever. But the thing is, they're little kids and it's family. That's their parents. They're allowed to do that. Why judge them for that? The fact that for siblings, and there's some older siblings that might do it, where it's just a little slight on the cheek or on the forehead or on the head, just to, like in the hair on the head. It's just, I love you type of thing or whatever else. So, I mean, like, that's normal. The fact that in cultures, Hispanic cultures, they just do the one side. Most what I used to remember seeing in movies as kids, fancy people, those that were rich and wealthy and blah 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 blah. They did the double sided, which means they did both cheeks. And in some other cultures, yes, I think Italian or Italy, they do the double sided. European cultures, they do that. So that's common. It's just the way that they greet each other. And of course, when you're married in a relationship, whether, you're just dating, boyfriend, girlfriend, you're engaged, or you're, like I say, like you're married or whatever, we come in, have a long day, or we're just excited to see the person and just to show them and express to them how much we love them. We give them a kiss. Hey, how's your day, sweetie? Whether it's on the cheek, whether it's on the lips, on the shoulder, when you're hugging them from behind. Like, it's, again, a kiss is its own language, broken down into a million itty bitty languages that we may not really never understand. So, but watching the video, it really got me thinking, because he was more so talking on a relationship standpoint. And I sat there and I thought about it, and just watching it, and dude kind of had a weird laugh, but it made me laugh. It was like a feel good laughter. And with him, I could tell that just thinking about it and to talk about it was like he was reliving a highlight of his life or a highlight of somebody passionate that he loves. I mean, I don't know if the dude was actually in a relationship or not, but the way that he just started laughing and was thinking about how it makes him feel and the rush that we get and the tingling sensation in our lips or whatever else, like gosh, like there's so much behind it, you know. And one thing I and it's just I'm sorry, I'm just like I'm trying to think about it because just thinking about it had me, and just watching the video had me thinking about my own self, had me thinking about gosh, like out of anything and everything in a relationship, physical wise, I love being held, I love cuddling, I love holding hands and everything else. But and yes, sure, while we can be adults or whatever else, you know, making love is another great thing too. But the best thing of all for me, honestly, would have to be kissing. It's something about the entwining of, I guess you could say, lip locking, or when your lips connect, because, like you said, your lips do have that tingling sensation. I'm not a big chick flick person, but I do love my romance movies. I mean, it's something that makes me feel good. I can't help but to love and endure and enjoy when the guy meets the girl for the first time and the girl meets the guy for the first time. Sometimes it might be, oh, well, you're such a jerk and you're an a-hole and everything else. And I said it like that because it's YouTube. I don't want to say something I'm not supposed to, and then I get kicked off. So yeah, so like there's that, and you know, I love it. You know, it's always something great, just learning how two people meet. You know, and I was talking to my sister the other day, and I was saying, you know, growing up, I always said that, oh, the day that, like, at least of course, high school, whatever else, or even down in middle school, just growing up, I was like, you know, I never was really big on, you know, dating sites or whatever, just because, one, I wasn't really of that age to be going on a dating site, and two, I really didn't think anything of it. I was just like, I'd rather like actually meet the person, because my mentality was to be at the grocery store or shopping or whatever else, and what was going to be the love of my life spots me from afar and approaches me, wants to talk to me, or to notice that I'm in a sticky situation with other people that just won't leave me alone, and he swoops in and pretends to be my boyfriend or my date or my husband or whatever else. You know, like I always like those scenarios in movies. So I'm just like, helpless romantic type. I can't help but to think that, man, that would be awesome if that happened to me one day. You know, but just the sensation of kissing, like it's like, especially when it happens for the very first time, it's not even so much of the tingling sensation that you get, but it's also like in movies when something big is about to happen, or in horror movies when someone's about to jump out, you have the suspenseful music and it's getting intense and it builds up, it builds you up for that moment. The first kiss with that special someone is the same way. You see how their eyes are just like constantly moving, trying to figure out a focal point, and the breathing is heavy but hesitant, and it's nervous. You can see just down to the touch or whatever is nervous as well. So right when the the lips are, in a sense, the lips are about to lock, it's like, oh my gosh, they're gonna do it. Is somebody gonna interrupt them? Like, what's gonna happen? Like, and even when you're that person that's doing it, you're trying to figure out, like, oh my gosh, like, what's gonna happen? Is this really about to happen? What do I do? And whatever else, until the moment it finally happens, it's like everything stops. everything stops and it's peaceful and it's amazing, and your breath is taken away to where you stop kissing for a moment. It's an adrenaline rush and it's a high, pretty much, because you're enjoying and embracing that moment. Every ounce, every inch of that moment, you're embracing it and you're enjoying it. And for guys, it could be like, yeah, I finally kissed her. Like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I did it, but I did it. For us women, at least for me, I'm just like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that just happened. Oh my gosh, like, what do I do now? Like, do I kiss him again? Whatever else. And, it's, for us women, we have a million questions in our head because, in a sense, we're naturally programmed to analyze a lot of things. Most women aren't like that, but in a sense, the majority of women are. Most guys can be like that, and then other guys just roll with the flow. And it is just an amazing thing, you know? Like, if you literally take the time to think about, for a physical aspect of being in love, being in a relationship, what could it be? For some people, it's cuddling. For other people, holding hands, hugging, just to sit next to the person, just to gaze in each other's eyes and everything else. And again, I love all of those things, but just to be kissed by the one that you love is the best thing ever physically in a relationship. Honestly. There's honestly, to me, I don't think there's anything that can top that. And especially if you're the type that is truly in love with somebody, you will I guarantee you that's something you'll never stop thinking about. Ever. I mean, even down to when we fantasize our dream guy or dream girl that we want to kiss. We always want to make sure that the moment is right, the moment is perfect, and everything else. Honestly, I sat and watched. I kid you not, I literally had a Channing Tatum binging moment. Just whatever free movies were on demand and Netflix or whatever I can get my hands on, and just watched a whole bunch of stuff. And while yes, he's a good looking actor or whatever else. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna be like, oh yeah, I think he's cute. No, he's seriously a good looking dude. But it's just like, especially like this, the way, of course, they probably have the directors and the assistants, whatever, say, okay, well, this is how I really want it to be. I want you to think about this and put yourself in that moment just to bring this scene perfect, because we gotta have that right scene and whatever else. And it's just like, if you just let it happen, like, it's beautiful, it's amazing. And I mean, I've watched my full-on hands of romance movies or whatever else where they do that, and there's only like a good bit, a handful of celebrities that I feel like that, for guys at least, that nail it for me and they make it seem like so beautiful. And the fact that you're like, oh my gosh, like, I wish that was me, I wish that was me, I wish I was in her shoes, and that I could just kiss him and blah 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 blah. But um, you know, it's, I mean, it's natural. But again, it's something about it. And especially the fact that, for example, okay, think about this. And I'm being completely clean with this because, again, this is YouTube. I don't know exactly what I can and can't say because I don't want to get kicked off of here. So for, you know, you're making love with somebody else, not somebody else, but you're making love with the person that you're so in love with. It could be great. It could be the best thing ever. It could be like, oh my gosh, my legs are like lip noodles and I cannot walk no more. It could be that great. And you know how guys are, yeah, I got that. And it was, I did this and I did that. So it was women like, oh my gosh. And he was like this and like that and blah, 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 blah. And we can talk about that moment forever. But think about it when you have, and I'm going to air quote it because I don't really think there is a perfect one, but that perfect kiss, I mean, that lingers for days. Call me a liar, but for me, when it's like the best thing ever, like, of course, we're gonna always have our romances with whoever that of course, at one point in time, we thought they were the. Oh, that's funny. My thing kind of reconnected. Let's check something. Oh, my signal's fine, so I don't know what happened. Anyways, so, um, but yeah, so like, things might have worked out with that person, but you do remember the good times. You do remember your best kisses, your worst kisses, your best dates, your worst dates. You remember all those good things. But when you have that special lip locking connection with someone, you will never ever forget that, because it was so special, because it meant the world to you. The fact that you had that spark, the fact that at that moment, literally everything stopped for you. Everything stopped, time stopped. It felt like you were the only two people in the room, and the music was playing, and it was perfect. I mean, you know, um, it's just, honestly, again, as I said before, I feel like kissing is just the best thing. And the secret with that, too, I think, especially when you're in a relationship, it has to mean something. It really has to say something. You can't just go up and just kiss anybody like, okay, I love you. No, not in this world, because you'll kiss the wrong person that you're not even in love with, and then that person is just like, oh my god, I think I'm in love with this person. I don't even know who it is. Like, no, like, don't do that. And at the same time, you might get in trouble for it. So I wouldn't do that. But that person, in a sense, for me, like, really has to mean something. The connection has to, really has to be there. Because for me, it's one of those things I take. I guess you could say I take it personally, and I take it to heart. Like, that's what makes me feel really connected. Like, there's a strong connection with the person. I'm all for somebody to look good, be fit, muscles, tattoos if you got them. I'm all for that. But physical body type thing, like, it's not so much of a huge factor. I've dated guys that were bigger than me. I've dated guys that, that had some weight on them, but it wasn't so much of a bother. I more so loved gazing into their amazing, beautiful eyes. Yes, I said amazing, beautiful. I put two adjectives, however you want to say it together, and described it that way, because that's how I do things. But, like, I'm more so like eyes and smile type of person. And then that personality has to match, because if it doesn't, then it doesn't. But if everything is smooth sailing and the connection is there, eyes, smile, personality, likes, dislikes, you got a good head on your shoulders, you're not just somebody that looks good and then you're a complete jerk later on, like, or just a jerk in general. Like, if everything's good and then we choose to kiss, now sometimes there are going to be times where you think this person is just a god or a goddess or whatever, but the spark's not there with the kiss. It's not the end of the world. It just means maybe, that's not the one. Person you like, your type of interest, or whatever else, but maybe it's not the one. For me, if that spark is there, if I, again, like I described before, I get that adrenaline rush, uh, the the heavy breathing, the ultimate high of the passionate, meaningful kiss, it says something. It says a lot. So, I mean, that's just my intake on it. And it was just something I had to get off my chest before I go to bed, just because I watched that video. But I might go back and fully watch it to see what all he talked about and everything else. It was just, I couldn't finish watching it because my mind was racing. So, I did acknowledge the person. If they finish watching this later on, um, I noticed I had one viewer while I was doing this live, so that's pretty awesome. But yeah, so hopefully I will have something else. Not this weekend, because I got something going on this weekend, but maybe next week I'll have something even more on lines of that. I definitely have to look into YouTube's guidelines and rules for what to talk about, what not to talk about, because I know there are kids that get on here too, and I don't want this to be targeted for kids. So yeah, so love you guys. Have a good night.